But the exciting prospect is the championship leader, Van Gisbergen, is right behind them. What a recipe. The Tasmanian edition of the 2017 Virgin Australia Supercars Championship. Installment 1 gets cracking. Boston converts beautifully. Power to the road, a great start. Van Gisbergen sneaks up to second. McLaughlin swamped back to third. Reynolds up to fourth. Beautiful start though for Mostert. He's blazing.
That was a beautiful start for sure. Minimised the wheel spin. Scott McLaughlin had a drama. Have a look at the spray. No visibility at all. At over 230k on the run down to turn 4.
Being buried in that cloud is a nightmare. It's murky brown when you're in the car. You cannot see the braking references. Do they all get through the hairpin unscathed? Mostert has bolted. He's got a second on them already, and he hasn't even got to the end of the back straight. Van Gisbergen gets on with it. Now McLaughlin finds his stride. Has a look down the inside. It's Whitcup up to fourth. Oh, Reynolds skates it wide down at 6. And 55 under investigation for that start. He might have flinched early. They'll look at that in Cam's race control. He's got 0.95 of a second, and he nearly ran wide. He has run wide. So Mostert's given away 4 spots, 5 spots. It might turn into 6, and he might still get a whack from upstairs.
That's what happens when you're the pioneer. When you're doing it, he's in. That's a massive crash there for Tander. He's spun. That's Rick Kelly involved. Tim Blanchard, Moffat, they're all involved. Have a look at this. This will be red flagged. That is a massive crash.
Red flag. All cars are to stop on the grid in order, please. In their current order, all cars to stop on the grid with caution, please.
Di Silvestro, Rouleau, Moffat, Pye, Blanchard, Tander, Percat, Rouleau, I mentioned. My goodness me. That
11 cars.
Is a staggering scene in Tasmania. And there's another Brad Jones car in there. After the difficult day they've had, Rick Kelly, massive damage on that car. That's Will Davison. That's decimated.
That is huge.
1/3 of the field.
The damage on the back of Courtney's car. Both the Mobil 1 HSV cars are involved. Both of the Gary Rogers cars are involved.
It's a car park at Simmons Plains.
It's Taz Douglas just walking towards
that's
the front of, I think that's Courtney's car that's back there. Wow.
Scafie, you did the count. I think you said 11 cars. Correct?
Yeah.
That's more than $5 million worth of racing cars sitting there. And most of them look like they're in a pile of trouble technically. There's a huge amount of damage out there. Early indications from the shots that we're seeing are that everybody looks as though they've been able to get out.
Well, I didn't see Courtney. Did Courtney get out? Yes, he has. That looked like the damage to the right-hand rear.
So for the first time in recent past, this man's outfit managed to get through unscathed. So Charlie's been in every war there's been recently. Charlie Schwerkolt, Preston Hire Racing, Lee Holdsworth. So the field's got back. Look at this damage.
These are terrible scenes, folks. This is not what we like to see in this game. This is a car park of the very best cars and drivers. And it looked like someone was to the left of Tander, and that's how it started. They'd come out of turn 3. There's Percat with his arms out. Young Alex Rouleau is the youngest man in the field, parked in behind there. Tim Blanchard. And I honestly don't know how it originated, but definitely Tander got bumped from the left, and when he fired into the guardrail, then that just all unfolded from there.
So I think the last one in the unscathed pack was Caruso.
That's right. Yes.
So that's 14 cars back at the grids. So Taz Douglas was the other car from Lucas Dumbrell Motorsport. That's Taz just in front of car number 3 with the right front corner hanging off that. Scafie's just counting up cars here at the moment. Unprecedented scenes, and that...
Sorry, it's 12 cars
12
now,
cars.
not 11. Yeah.
So we're looking at the rear of Will Davison's car there, and we're looking from James Courtney's car.
Will Davison looks the guy that's been most affected. Beautiful start here by Chaz Mostert, got away. Well, now that's still under investigation.
Yeah, possibly too good. So it's hard to tell because we don't see the light reference there, but they're looking at that. But that's the least of everybody's problems at the moment. So he skips away. And usually the trouble here is on the opening lap, either here at turn 2 or down at the hairpin. So looking across, McLaughlin went absolutely nowhere, but it might be that it was Chaz that bolted, but it sounded like it bogged down as well, which I reckon it did when you look at Van Gisbergen getting by.
Comes a wheel spin. Listen to the wheel spin. And then we'll probably try to find another couple of cars for the visibility because this isn't too bad.
Well, when you're up the sharp end, it's not too bad. But those that I made reference to that are down the order, they were just in a cloud, a murky cloud. Then we saw Mostert come unglued down here at turn 2, just as we've made reference to the problem for him being under investigation. He's understeered wide, went out into the gravel, and that's probably upset the natural order as he's dropped back in, and everybody has to then skip and move back and gets out of sequence. So I think he went back to 5th or 6th. On board now with Chaz. He's leading the race, crosses the control line, feeds it a couple of gears. This is 1, the little jump, and then 2. Gets caught in the puddle, big understeer, runs wide over the ripple strip. Now he gathers it back. There goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Now he's 5th. David Reynolds. 6th, and here's the crash. Now I saw Tander tangled up.
Yeah, he was the one definitely tangled up.
The problem is there
it is, just back there now. So as this emerges now, you watch Tander's the one there. So whoever that was, which was actually Cam Waters was the one that was into Tander, and that's how that started.
And it's a visibility issue. So, and that was monstrous contact that Will Davison had with Rick Kelly. That's the reason why he's hurting, because the seatbelts will have grabbed him. So Will Davison, this is looking from the rear bumper of Garth Tander's car.
And that's Nick Percat, so that's a little bump. So they're vying for position, remembering it's really grip limited out of turn 3. So on the other side, there's another car there.
Oh, you got a bump. So
yeah,
you definitely got a bump.
Oh.
Bang, out of business.
And
so let's have a look again. So they're buried in the plume. Tander gets a bump. He tags Rick Kelly, and then it's just a mess. Tim Blanchard, Nick Percat, Will Davison cannons into Rick Kelly. Scott Pye's in there as well. It's like 10-pin bowling. Now let's ride with Will Davison. We'll just be quiet here for a sec. Hurts from this far back.
That is a serious, serious accident.
Another angle. And then it's a question of, I mean, people just can't react. I mean, there's cars flying everywhere. You've got no grip. You can't see. There's metal every which way. Now with Courtney.
So I reckon Courtney was almost, he had it under control, and he got back on the throttle, but then he got cannoned from behind.
Yeah, because they couldn't see.
So I think you'll find that young Alex Rouleau might have been the guy who got the back of James, but the most amount of damage by far will be with Rick Kelly's car and Will Davison's car.
Yeah, there's an ambulance up there as well, so somebody's not feeling too well. I suspect it may be Will Davison from the shock
body
contact, and yeah, just he got out and sat down next to the car. That would have hurt. So that's James Moffat's car number 34, Scott Pye's car number 2. We're looking from the roof of Garth Tander's car number 33. Tim Blanchard, that's a Brad Jones racing car. They've been in the wars, those guys. Unfortunately, car number 21, Cool Drive entry.
Now, you said before about the cars that got through, and you made the point about the Brad Jones cars being part of it, Slade probably had the least amount of damage. He actually trickled through the drama. He sort of got through relatively unscathed. But you've got to feel for Gary Rogers Motorsport, because those two cars are effectively new. They've changed the whole business from Volvo to Holden.
And look at the damage on it. Let's get downstairs and understand more about what's going on.
Scott Sinclair. That sound is awful, but Scott Sinclair, you're engineering Michael Caruso this weekend, but usually your natural duties are to overrun this team here at Nissan Motorsport. Rick Kelly's car's just returned, and it does not look nice.
No, I think that's the last we'll ever see of that car based on what we've just seen there. So definitely wrong place at the wrong time there. He was out in front of that carnage and just got tapped, and then obviously what happened, but you know, that's part of the business we're in, and we've had a pretty good run recently, but it's obviously come to an end there. So that's a good shame, and hopefully Rick's all right, and all the other guys involved are all right, and no one likes to see that stuff, but you know, we'll see what happens from here.
In terms of timing, we don't have much time. Obviously, Easter break next weekend, then we head to Phillip Island. What does your workshop look like in terms of spare cars?
Well, it's going to be busy now, and we're currently building a spare, which you know, we'll have to assess all the options. It's probably too early to make a call there, but there's going to be a fair bit of work on, I can guarantee that.
Yeah, tough break for you guys. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Rana.
In addition to this massive incident, there may potentially be another story here, and it involves the pole sitter, Scott McLaughlin. Now, he is sitting, guys, just outside your commentary box at pit exit. He's come into the lane, and I've just seen Ryan Story and Ben Croak from the team hurriedly go to Frank Adamson about midway through the lane and ask for permission to possibly push that car back in the opposite direction, back down the lane towards the team garage. Now, they're cagey with me at the moment. They won't tell me if there's a problem, and Scotty does not want to talk, but we're keeping an eye on it for you.
So Frank Adamson is the category technical manager, and it would be very interesting as to why he would park the car there and why they'd be asking Frank for special dispensation to bring the car back to the garage. There's clearly something going wrong that we're unaware of. Now that, I didn't realise who Tander originally made contact with. So Cam Waters, definitely a big part of that. And he got Rick Kelly. But this accident, that one there, the closing speed for Will.
That's, as you heard Scott Sinclair say, most likely KO'd car 15, because that'll have structural damage in the cage now. And you saw Todd Kelly also looking carefully at that car. And it's huge damage on the front of Will Davison's car. So that'll have chassis damage and chassis rail damage, no doubt, cross member and all the rest of it at the front of that car as well. So we're looking from Garth Tander's car, and you cannot see a thing here. And he cops a whack. That was some sort of contact with Cam Waters. And then once cars are spinning every which way, all hell breaks loose.
James Courtney, first and foremost, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. The cars aren't looking too flash down there, but Will's out. He's all right, so you don't have to panic. He's just hurt the family jewels a little with the impact, but no, it's sad to, I think a lot of people's weekends are going to be ended now, so it's not the way we wanted it.
From your point of view, it was really difficult in terms of vision for us. So just from your point of view.
Yeah, I saw the accident, so I was stopped. And then, a car behind me, I think it was Taz, didn't see that, the accident and just hit me flat out. So the Commodore's now a cruise. And then it fired me into Will because he'd gone off the fence on the other side and come across. But, the track was blocked. So I don't know why it happened, but, there was plenty going on.
So do you think you might be out for the weekend?
Yeah, there's a lot of damage to the back of it. So, but the boys are miracle workers. They'll hack into it. Starry will be able to get his gas axe out and start welding stuff, so he'll be happy. But no, we'll press on, see what we can do.
I'm glad you're okay. Thanks, James.
Cheers.
So James almost threaded the needle there, and then he copped a whack from behind, and then it just got worse from there. So the origins of this are very hard to unravel, and there'll obviously be a deep and detailed investigation as to what's gone on. And that is a monstrously damaged woodstock stock car of the Techno Autosports. That car will be close to throwaway as well. With that sort of damage at the front and then also down in the right rear corner. That's James Courtney's car. We just heard from James with Rihanna. And I'd be real surprised if that doesn't have rail damage at the front.
I think I've called the wrong car with young Alex Rulo. I think it might have been Taz Douglas who actually made contact with the back of James Courtney. That is, yeah. So I'm sorry about that. So that was Taz Douglas, who was coming through on the inside, and he tried to thread the needle with Will Davison. They were on the left-hand side trying to get through, and that was huge impact. They were the two cars that one ran into the back of Courtney, and the other one, Will Davison, made contact with Rick Kelly. But have a look at this. This is like a wrecking yard.
Dodgem cars at the Royal Easter Show. Staggering damage. Calls into focus again, and I mention this every time where I can about the wonderful people that we have that volunteer their time and efforts and their skills to administer these race meetings. So we've got officials out there in the clean-up process, flag marshals, firemen, vehicle recovery. So there's a lot of people that we have to thank for their efforts to try and get this show happening each and every year, and right now back on the road. Let's get down into the pit lane.
Just an update on the DJR Team Penske situation. So some decent damage to car 12 of Fabian Coulthard. We'll just see how that one goes at the moment. He's actually out there with the cars on the grid. In relation to the 17, they're a bit reluctant to talk to me. I've walked away with the impression that maybe Scotty McLaughlin has come back into the lane in error. And if that's the case, I think he will go back out and start this one at the back of the field, guys. They're not going to push it back up the lane now, as I initially talked about. But the suggestion is he may have come in error. I'll try and verify that for you, and that's perhaps why he didn't want to talk to me before.
Yeah, well, there was a call on Race Management Channel from the race director, Tim Schenken, asking cars under the red flag to come back and stop on the grid. It was a clear instruction. So somewhere along the line, there's been a breakdown in comms, and that hasn't got through to McLaughlin, by the sound of it, who's come into the pit lane, and that could be a costly error in a battle for a championship when we get towards the back end of the year, where every point counts. What a mess.
That is a mess. That is. We hate to see this level of damage.
To describe it, to understand it. Every now and again we have one of these, and today's the perfect recipe. Bad visibility, I beg your pardon, and wet track. Now, whether he was called or whether he made that decision on his own, I don't know, but I certainly heard the call on my radio from the race director instructing all cars to come to the grid and stop.
But what you've got to do, so you can see here, he's bewildered. He's the only one in pit lane, and that's a clear mistake. And there's clearly, as you said, a communications breakdown between the team and Scott. But what it will do is at the point of the restart, he's going to have to think about what he does. Look at the damage to the back of the Techno car. That's extraordinary. It's pulled the right-hand side rear corner right out of the car. And he'll have to think about how he gets onto a slick, because there may be a way of coming through the pit lane, starting from the pit lane and being on a slick tyre may give him a little lifeline, given that there's so many cars damaged, and he's going to go back to roughly 15th from the back of the field. So this is just extraordinary scenes, folks. If you're just joining us, this is the accident that originated with contact with Garth Tander, who spun and made contact with Rick Kelly. Rick Kelly then...
There's a couple of cars that barreled in there at pretty high speed. Others had already recognised the problem.
This is Will. This is big. This is big. This is down there. And watch this. Bang. Ooh.
Now, this is also when we do eventually go racing, an event governed by time certainty. So local time 39 minutes past the hour. We're riding with Courtney here, who sort of looks like he gets away with it, and then he gets a big whack from behind, and then once all that happens, he's in plenty of trouble. So here's another angle looking from up near the back straight at this cluster of cars that just all end up jamming into each other at high speed. In dry conditions, the run down to that hairpin is 245 kilometres an hour at peak speed. Now, the wet track and everyone greasing their way out of turn 3, it won't quite be that today, but it'll still be north of 200 kilometres an hour, well north of 200 kilometres an hour.
For sure.
And out of all those cars that are sitting there at the moment, 3 of them are the Brad Jones Racing triple. And Nick Percat is with me. Mate, just give us a quickly synopsis on what you've seen on your car damage-wise.
Touch wood, I think for the first time this year, we've come out of it all right. Obviously, it's not ideal. My biggest hit was actually from Blanchard in the side, but I think it's kind of squashed the doors. The front seemed all right. It might have held the radiator, but I kind of put my head out and then got back in and started up and tried to drive back. All wheels were pointing the right direction. Nothing was hanging out of it, but then the coolant pressure came on, so I had to switch it off. But crazy. I don't know what to say for the BJR crew. Obviously, we've had Macaulay's car destroyed today, Jack Smith's, our 3 main game cars, my car at Grand Prix. I don't know what these guys and girls need to do to take a trick at the moment. And then last year with Bathurst in New Zealand, it's not ideal, but for me, there it is. Hopefully, you know, Will Davo's all right. He looked like he's in a bit of pain. I know myself, Slady and Blanchard, we're all right. But yeah, thoughts go for Will. I think he's in a bit of pain and hopefully he's all good.
Just any idea of what you saw happening? I mean, with a lot of spray, obviously. It was very, very wet out there still, but hard to work out how it all came together.
For me, I was behind Garth, and then there was a bit of a touch up ahead of him, and then next thing, Slady was kind of sideways, and I went to go right, and then there was a big gap, and then everyone kind of, obviously, wet track was spinning back across, and I hope that staying down the right-hand side will be all right, but then obviously there's 12 cars to come in, or 10 cars to come in, and a few people haven't seen it and come in pretty hard, but as you can see on the footage, my car's probably a lot better than a few others.
Thanks, buddy. Let's hope we can get this, the team can get this repaired and have you out there tomorrow.
No worries. Thank you, mate.
Scott Pye's just walked into the Mobile 1 HSV racing team. We're having a look at some of the vision of car 2. Firstly, are you okay? And just tell us from your point of view how things unfolded there.
Yeah, I'm fine. I think maybe Will Davo is a bit sore. Everyone else I think is okay. Obviously, everyone's just getting sent through the medical centre at the moment. But yeah, hopefully everyone's fine. The crash, to be honest, I don't really know. Like, you can't see that much because of the spray. We saw a bit of debris kick up, so the few of us at the back, like myself, James, and I think Holdsworth, just rolled out of it. I went to the right and was just cruising along. Next thing, Garth's come backwards across the track in front of me, and someone must have just been trucking on behind me because they just hit me pretty hard from behind and shoved me into everything. Looks like James got tagged going through, and Holdsworth was the one there that hung right back and got through it. So he's just unlucky for the guys at the back, but there's obviously a massive shunt in front of us, and we just got shoved into it.
I know the boys will want to have a closer look at car 2 and assess it. Can you get it back for tomorrow? How confident are you?
Oh, I'm a driver, so I can't really assess anything too well, but I think that, if anything, maybe the front end might be narrowed up a little bit because we were pushed pretty hard between Garth and the concrete wall. From behind, it didn't look like mine was too bad. The parcel shelf and the boot looks okay, so everything else from below that is detachable, and hopefully the boys can get that put together. James' car, having a look at that, the boot in that looks pretty bad. So hopefully, like I said, that parcel shelf and so the back window there, if that's okay, then they should be all right. But who knows till we pull them apart.
We replayed the incident with the Ecole Commodore earlier today. What is it with you in this place, mate?
I know, yeah, James, we're there. I mean, that's a completely separate incident, though. That was a mechanical failure, and I had a bunch of them that year, and I'm not in that place anymore. And this is just an unfortunate event. You know, it's racing, and that happens. But yeah, it's disappointing. There's a lot of cars torn up out there, and hopefully everyone's all right, but you don't want to see that.
Yeah, most importantly, the cars can be repaired. Good to see you're okay.
Cheers. Thank you, mate.
Scott Pye in conversation there with Greg Rust. Have a look at Will Davison's point of view now with the benefit of telemetry. He was already having a big battle on his hands with a lack of grip through turn 7. And check the visibility out as well. I think that's Simona just in front, car number 78. That is a frightening image. So now McLaughlin's being rolled back. I've just been, while the interviews were taking place, just pondering what's going on there, because we're under race suspension here at the moment. If you've just joined us, been a monstrous accident on lap 2, race 3, the Tyre Power Tasmania SuperSprint. That was the pole sitter who got a tardy start, dropped back a couple of spots. Chaz Mostert got the best start, made a mistake at turn 2, but was under investigation for potentially jumping a start. But second lap, there was contact between several cars in the midfield in a plume of spray, and we think that the total tally of damaged cars that are still out there, in some cases, is 12. And I just heard Tim Schenken, our race director, say there's still 5 cars to recover. It's coming up to 12, nearly 13 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock local time here in Tassie, and it's a time certain finish at 39 past the hour. That's Will Davison's car, the Woodstock car. Incredible damage front and rear on that car. And just to put a little bit more of a point on the summary here, McLaughlin, in a moment of confusion, has come into the pit lane, and there was a clear instruction on the race management channel for all the competitors, in accordance with the rules, by the way, in Section D, in a suspended race scenario, to go back under the red flag conditions to the grid. So there's been some sort of an issue there where he made a last-minute decision to come into the lane, and now there's also the question mark of how they're going to handle that. Now, you are permitted to come into the lane, by the way. There's no penalty for that. It's just out of whack. But I think what they're trying to do now is see whether or not they can get onto another tyre, and that will actually be that's another question again.
Exactly. So they've confirmed that he will start from the lane, but whether he can put a tyre on or not, we'll get clarification for you. Will Davison's been taken to hospital. That incident had a 12G impact. He's got lower back pain and he was heavily winded. Murph?
James Moffat is back in the lane. His car we can see on screen there, mate. Just, it's probably hard to tell, but from your point of view, what does your car look like? What kind of damage is on it?
A lot. A lot? Yeah, just obviously a big mess. So can't really make too much judgment on it all because I don't really know what happened, other than the fact that I think I clipped one of the BJR cars and it pulled the left front out of it, and at that point I had no brakes, and then saw Garth sliding sideways across the track, and I got him pretty hard, and then there was a Walkinshaw car getting into me. It was
lots of colours.
Yeah, it sort of felt like we might have been at Parramatta Raceway on a Saturday night for the demo derby. I like watching them on the other side of the fence, though, not being in one.
No, I can understand how difficult was the spray at the start of the race. Obviously, no more rain falling, but a lot of water still on the circuit.
To be honest, it was more the fact that there is a bit of sun now and the glare from that. So I think spray-wise, that wasn't the worst spray conditions I've ever been in. But yeah, from what I could see, as it looked like the Penske car was maybe squeezing somebody, from where I could see, and then it all was a chain reaction from that point onwards. But yeah, like I said, won't make any judgment on it until we have a proper look at it. But from our point of view, GRM, there's 2 torn up cars, which is less than ideal, but a lot of other torn out cars, and obviously sounds like Will has hurt himself, so that's never ideal, and we never want that to happen. So hopefully he's feeling better quickly.
Glad you're okay though, mate.
Thank you.
James Moffat with Greg Murphy. So, under the suspended rules, suspended race rules, by the way, I just want to clean up this issue with Mostert. I'll come back to that other point. So, no problem at all for Mostert, just a great start. So, you saw the lights off to the right, and Chaz flinches after the lights. So, that's been cleaned up. But I think it was so good relative to everybody else, it immediately makes everyone in race control and elsewhere question the validity of the start. There's the back of Chaz and his teammate Cam Waters. So that's all resolved in Jason Bright and Mark Winterbottom there. So all of the Pro Drive Racing Australia drivers all together in a cluster. So under those conditions, out comes the red flag. The race directors instructed everybody to go back to the grid. They go back in the order, and whoever arrives first is effectively the pole, and then they just sit there in the order that they arrive. That's it. That's all there is. However, the slightly weird part of that story is McLaughlin, having gone to the lane, now has to be shuffled to the back of the pack.
And as the wrecks continue to flood back in, James Courtney's car's arrived, not looking too sharp. I'm picking your one isn't looking too good either, Gartander. Any sort of, can you shed any light on what went down there?
No, I got no idea, mate. I could see something was happening with Coulthard and Rick, I think it was, and Waters was involved in that. And so I could see all that sort of over to the left, and I sort of stayed tight on the exit of turn 3 and get the run down the outside, and someone's come out and hit me in the rear, and then I'm just sideways, and sideways there is not good because the whole field's coming over here, and then look like they're talking to Slady in the medical centre. It sounds like there's probably 2 or 3 separate things going on during that. So, but I haven't seen a replay. But yeah, a lot of big hits, and unfortunately Moff had nowhere to go, and one of the big hits was his car into mine. So, don't know how bad the car is. We'll have to have a look when he gets back with both cars.
There's a bit of a replay going on. It's hard to see through the spray at the moment, but there was definitely a bit of hip and touch, and that's you. And I think Cam Waters is the one behind you.
Just got hit from behind, and I mean, there was so much going on. I mean, you're not going to blame anyone at this stage until you see all the detail. But yeah, just got hit from behind and sideways, and it stacks on. And this is all, ugly. There's a lot of damaged cars there. It's not cool. But
what do you reckon, having a quick look at your one when you were down there?
Don't know, mate. The sad thing is, I was stuck in it for like 10, 15 minutes. Couldn't get out because there was cars wedged either side. So usually you could get out and have a good look around, but the medicos wanted to drag me out. So there'll be a fair bit of damage. That's not cool. But I actually saw Will getting into the ambulance, and he looked like he was a bit winded. So hopefully he's okay.
This is out the back of your car, actually. So it's hard to see. And that sunlight, Moff just said too. You know, was the glare.
That was more turn 6 and 7 than anything else. So. So you probably can't even see there's much going on here.
It's difficult, that's for sure. There's a car, it must be on your left-hand side. There's Waters, who looks like he had to prop, didn't it?
Yeah, and then I think the whole thing started with the Coulthard Kelly thing. It looked like they were battling on for half a lap or so, and that sort of propped the whole field. And, cars are pretty on the edge there with grip wires going through 3 in the wet, so it doesn't take much to trip a car up.
Everyone's trying to take advantage too, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a bit of that going on.
Thanks, Bob.
I think that's a key point, because it won't be possible to necessarily establish a black hat in all this. When the visibility's so bad and the grip's so limited, there are cars sliding every which way. So there will be a lot of people that have got equity in something like this. It happens in motorsport. Now, McLaughlin's plucking the gloves off here. And we've had confirmation from Cam's race control that there is the strong prospect of us getting back underway with a race once these cars are cleared. There is the positive expectation that that will happen, so we will get a third race underway of sorts. But that's an awful scene. Will Davison has been taken to hospital for observation. He is okay. He's been winded, and as I suggested as soon as I saw that incident, it's the belts that have grabbed him that's hurt him. And he's had a little bit of lower back trouble from time to time over his career. He's been doing lots of specific gym work just to help that recently, and he just told me this morning he's been feeling pretty good, but unfortunately it will have been aggravated now.
That's Rick Kelly and Coulthard having a bump and got squeezed. That was sort of the start of it. I think that's where people had to move to the right.
Well, and when the pack checks up and you can't see, and all of a sudden someone's not doing the velocity that you expect in the first instance, then that's when it goes wrong. So Greg Murphy's on the spot down there with Scotty McLaughlin to get some first-hand chat to understand what the issues are there.
Talking Kiwi.
Yes. So suspended race scenario for race number 3. Van Gisbergen is the first car back in that queue. I made mention of those rules before. He was third on the grid, and there was a question mark over Chaz Mostert. He made a good start, it turned out. And Mostert, we've cleared him of any wrongdoing in that start, although it'll still need to be officially cleared upstairs. But it's actually Van Gisbergen that's got back first, together with Whincup. And so this is actually the order. If we do go racing again now, then Lowndes, even though on the computer timing McLaughlin is showing second at the moment because he ended up in the pit lane, he still crossed the control line in there, but he's got to go to the rear. So it's Van Gisbergen, Whincup, Lowndes, Reynolds, Mostert, Bright, Winterbottom, Wood, Kelly and Cam Waters. That's your top 10 and what will be an abbreviated field. And there's 1 or 2 souvenirs there by the side. And just there you go right there. Look at the thickness of the concrete wall. And when you've got cars cannoning off that's actually at the edge of the racetrack down there. It's not hard to work out that you're going to have some pretty significant damage.
And when you looked at the field there in terms of the abbreviation and the number of cars that are ready to line up again, Cam's race control are trying to get this restarted, and the rule of time certainty for this race this afternoon is local time 17:39 plus 1 lap. So if we can get going again, it'll be a shortened version of race 3.
Scafey, just after that chat there with Garth Tander, I've wandered out onto the grid to try and catch up with Cam Waters. Just give us your side of things and how you saw it unfold.
Yeah, went into through 1 and 2, and I got kind of hit off at the exit of 2, and we were racing around 3, and I saw Fabian and I think it was Todd get into each other, and everyone braked in front of me, and then it all tried to avoid all the crash. So it all happened that quick. You didn't really know what to do. So it's just a shame. All the cars are pretty damaged, and I'm not sure if everyone's all okay, but pretty bad start to Tassie.
Your car, okay. You've been chatting here with Mark Winterbottom, obviously with Jason Bright. What's the general sort of thought here among the Pro Drive guys? Yeah,
my car's okay. It had a broken rear end plate, but we fixed that. So just want to go out and get racing again, but it is what it is. Okay, we'll leave Cam there. Guys, I've just also had a quick word to Campbell Little as the Techno car came off the tilt tray there before. Obviously, the most important thing is Will Davison, and we want him to be well. But that car has a lot of damage, and he's not sure yet whether they'll be able to repair it. Hopefully, they can. His words were, "We've got a long Easter ahead of us," and if memory serves me correctly, I don't think they have an immediate spare chassis at Techno that they can go to.
And I just had a quick chat to Scott McLaughlin. He's not saying too much. There's not a lot more information we can get as to why he's in the lane, but just by his body language, I would have to suggest there's been some sort of error, either from him or from the team in judgment, that brought him into the pit lane. So it was a wrong call. There's nothing wrong with the car that I can't see, and he certainly didn't say that there was anything wrong with it. So I think inadvertently he's ended up in the pit lane. So we'll have to wait and see. His start wasn't very good. He wasn't happy with that, obviously. Just got the timing a bit wrong, and then too much wheel spin got him away slowly. In addition, just want to mention that I was looking at the start of that race, wondering why Michael Caruso was struggling so much at the back of the field. I went and saw him before. We missed the point. He was the only car. He started on slicks. So that car went out on super soft tyres, the only one in the field. And he was at the back of the field hoping it was going to dry up, and probably it would have worked for him too.
Well, it may still work for him, Greg, if we are able to get restarted. Here's the onboard now. This will tell more of the story. Todd Kelly and Fabian Coulthard over the rise. They're bumping each other. In fact, he's bumped him right off. They've now got their exit going. Now, that must be Cam Waters on the right there, I think. So there's a big... okay, that makes a lot more sense now. That's Rick and Fabian. They've had the contact, and then everyone behind them have had to check up. And as they've checked up, Cam Waters has moved to avoid that and has made contact with Garth. So it's so slippery on the way out of turn 3. And the grip level at that time of the race was so low, you're battling to control the car by yourself, let alone racing everybody. So this is now the damage to James Moffat's GRM Commodore. And you can see there that James is doing his own assessment. They actually made contact between Garth and James together. So Caruso, if he is actually the only car out there that's got slicks fitted now, that may serve him well, but given the race suspension rules, you should be able to change the tyre. So again, on board with Fabian, that's Todd Kelly there. And as they go over the hill, that's Dale Wood in front. Todd gets turned as he gets around turn 2. That was Cam Waters out there on the right. And then, watch this. This is bang, contact with Rick. So that slows them up. As that happened, Garth was to the right. And you can see it now. Just watch this. Garth was to the right. And when he got turned by Cam Waters, he then hit the Nissan Altima that was travelling slowly. So again, when the grip level's so low, you're trying to get around turn 3 together, very easy to make contact together. Once that happened, they've then checked up. The field can't see them, so everyone takes evasive action, and then you end up with a collection of cars that started by bumping each other and ended up running into each other very severely, as you could see with the level of damage with so many cars. There are 12 cars damaged, and a huge, huge accident big repair damage in terms of the value, Neil. It's just it's extraordinary.
Yeah. I mean, just quick math in my head was that we're probably talking somewhere in the order of north of $5 million, but it's probably more than that if you get down. I mean, they're $500,000 to $600,000 a car. There's 12 of them, so it's probably closer to 7. And it's all of the work that's required to turn them around. So that's Scott McLaughlin and Ludo Lacroix. Let's get back into the lane with Greg Murphy.
And as you can see, the single-lead Nissan of Rick Kelly is under the cover. Massive amount of damage, mate. Luckily, you're okay, although you are sort of favouring one leg there.
Like a wounded horse. Yeah, it's a shame. You know, we got an okay start. There's a fair bit of kerfuffle going on in front, and like any race car driver, we tried to capitalise on it. I got next to Fabian and got run straight into the fence. I'm not sure what happened there. He could have got hit. He could have had someone on his right-hand side. It's one of those things that you need to look at everything that was involved. But yeah, certainly got run into the fence, which destroyed the left side of our car. So we're a bit in limp home mode at that point on the left-hand side of the track. And then, yeah, we got hit again. And then from there, I'm not sure, we got hit another 1 or 2 times, ended up back on the left, and then we'll come barreling down, obviously unable to stop and hit on the left. So yeah, definitely biggest hit I've had in the 16 years I've been out there. And shame because guys put a lot of work in, and now the car's in here and in a blanket that probably won't come off it.
It doesn't look like it. The damage there is huge, but it withstood obviously well. The safety side of things for you, I mean, you've given your leg a bit of a bump, I would say, by the looks of it is.
Yeah, look, it's funny, you go to the medical centre, they check everything out. The neck and everything from an impact or several impacts like that's really good. So it does say a lot about the safety of the car, but nevertheless, when you get hit on the side, we've seen it a few times in the last couple of years with Courtney and Chaz and Lee Holdsworth as well. And so, yeah, that's left leg's a little bit sore today. Very lucky in my case, I think, not to have busted it like what they did. But that's the concern in any incident, is when you get hit in the driver's side, and you don't want to see 11 competitors out of the race from one incident. We all want to be out there racing, and unfortunately we can't do that.
It's a shame you're going to be a bystander for the rest of the week, mate. Just glad you're okay.
Have you got a spot for me, or what's
That's the last thing we want, is you making comment about anything else.
Exactly.
Greg Murphy there with Rick Kelly. We're just frantically, as I'm sure everybody is in Cam's race control at the moment, just trying to understand the ramifications of whether or not the track can be fully cleared, whether or not we can meaningfully get a motor race underway, whether or not points can be awarded, and just how we deal with what was formerly published as the compulsory pit stop requirement, and how you unravel those things. Because once you gazette things in motor racing law and the way in which it works in the Supercar Ops Manual and the subsequent supplementary regulations and then further regulations, there's a whole raft of things that have got to be considered. So teams are frantically asking those questions at the moment, or certainly those that have got cars on the racetrack. But still, right now, we're still actually dealing with the cleanup scenario down there. So that is still Scott Pye's car down there, Alex Rouleau's car, and one of the Wilson Security Gary Rogers Motorsport Holdens is parked up backwards there as well. You can see with the Pace logos on the back of it, there's another angle of Alex Rouleau's car, and it turns out it's Garth Tander's car that's parked facing the wrong way in the braking area towards turn 4. So there's still a little bit of work to be done down there to recover those vehicles, not to mention actually getting the track cleaned up. So we're now at 30 minutes past 5 o'clock local time, Launceston, Eastern Standard, and time certainty might be an issue here because it's it's been published as 17:39 plus a lap. Let's get back downstairs for an update.
Yeah, the 78 Harvey Norman Ultima of Simona Di Silvestro is sitting here. She's in the car, in the garage, a bit of damage to the front of it, but the team have done a good job to repair it. Keen to get back going again. That was a bit of a ride.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be nice to go back out. I think might be tricky, but yeah, we'll see what we have.
It was tricky trying to avoid all that carnage that was going on. You managed to obviously obtain a little bit of damage, but slip through.
Yeah, it was. There was kind of nowhere to go, and we kind of all funneled into the other car. But I was lucky enough that nobody tapped me, so I could hit reverse and get back out there. But yeah, it was definitely tricky because you can't really see much, and all of a sudden there were cars sideways in front of us, and yeah, pretty narrow track as well, so it makes it all more difficult.
How are you finding these types of conditions in a supercar and dealing with it with the wet tyre and all those kinds of things? How much does it change from what you got used to on a slick tyre?
Yeah, well, it was definitely the first time I ever drove this car in the wet, so it was a little bit different. But I'm actually quite surprised. You know, it brakes really well because it definitely has more compliance and things like that. So that was pretty good. For sure, you know, having the like I forgot the wiper, for example, in the beginning because I've never had that before. So all of those things, you know, you're kind of getting used to. But I think the car actually handles pretty nicely in the rain. I've had worse. You know, an Indy car in the rain is pretty tricky because it doesn't have a lot of suspension, so not much grip. But I like the rain. I usually tend to like that, so it's always fun to race in the rain.
Thanks for your time, and hopefully we'll get a few more laps before it gets too dark.
Thanks.
Simona Di Silvestro, Swiss driver and a special lady in international motorsport. She's driving the Harvey Norman Nissan Altima. So we've lit up the lights on the Porsche safety car down there. David Reynolds is getting back in the Penrite Erebus Commodore and trying to get a motor race back underway here for you folks.
5 minutes.
So that was the background radio. You may have heard race director Tim Schenken with a 5-minute signal. Now, there must be some extension to the time certainty because it's currently 33 past the hour, and if that's the 5-minute signal, that makes it 38 past the hour, and the race is due to be completed at 39 past the hour. So we're awaiting all this information. We'll obviously pass it on to you as soon as we get it, Rihanna.
Tim Blanchard, just as we stand here, your car's getting unloaded from the tow truck, and it certainly looks worse for wear.
Yeah, we kind of copped it fairly badly there, so a fair bit of damage to the car, as you can see, and fortunately both the other two BJR cars have been caught up in it as well, so a lot of damage for all three cars, and I don't know if it's going to be fixable or not yet, but yeah, if anyone can do it, the BJR guys will get it done, but yeah, it's yeah, a lot of carnage.
It's been a heartbreaking couple of weeks for Brad Jones Racing, and now this weekend, two cars in the Super 2 series as well have been very badly damaged. You just certainly didn't need this at all.
No, not at all. The guy's done an awesome job getting Percut's car ready this weekend, and now we've kind of got 5 cars with significant damage out of the 6 that came here. And now all 6 have got to be on track again in 2 weeks, and so it's going to be a long fortnight for the whole crew.
And just finally, you feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. So yeah, just obviously pretty disappointed for all the guys. Got a long night and a long few weeks ahead.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Sorry, folks, we're just a lot going on here at the moment. As I'm sure you can appreciate, the radio in the background's lit up with a lot of background chatter between drivers and teams. Cars still being recovered, and people discussing the application of the rules.
3 minutes.
Lee Holdsworth on screen, Preston Hire Racing, and the background voice was the race director, Tim Schenken. So we've had confirmation there on screen now, and also on our computer timing, compulsory pit stop requirement has been deleted. That answers one of the questions. And there'll be some people in the field that will want to try and get a restart so that there can be a classification and some points awarded.
There's plenty of rules to say that if you don't complete 50%, there shouldn't be points.
So we'll have to wait and see. We're scrambling in here at the moment trying to understand the nuances of all that detail, but there's one that you're referring to there at the moment, Mark, in Schedule D. It says if the race is stopped before 50% of the scheduled race distance and duration has been completed by the leading car and cannot be restarted, no points will be awarded. So this is the debate that's going on down there at the moment. Matt Braid, Chief Executive Officer of Supercars. Brad Jones, Chief Operating Officer, is Shane Howard in the Supercars jacket, and I suspect that's David Stewart with his back to us.
I'm just waiting here, guys. Obviously, Brad's in the middle of the chat. The reason I wanted to talk to Bradley at the moment, obviously, was the damage, unfortunately, for his team, both in the Dunlop series and in the main game. But there's some heavy discussions happening here. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, thanks. I think eavesdropping is actually going to give us the best outcome here because no one's answering their phones.
I just spoke to Shane Howard a second ago, who's the gentleman on the right, who's talking to Brad Jones and Matt Braid. And there's obviously in everyone's best interest, we're trying to get the race restarted. They've got talking to Roland. Let's listen.
You're receiving medical car.
We're better off. We're better off going out. Right?
So I don't think it's going to be both
Brad Jones and Roland Dane are board members for Supercars Australia, and Rusty's on the spot. Rusty.
I'll just see if Brad can shed any light on, firstly, we feel for you given what's happened with your cars. We'll come to that in a moment. Can you tell us what's just happening here race-wise now?
Look, you know, they're going to make a decision in a minute, but the truth of the matter is they're not going to get that cleaned up in time. When you look down there, they still got, you know, there's stuff all over the road. So they'd like to get the race going, but, you know, they're going to, if they do, they'll be running around behind the safety car. We're nearly out of time. It's almost dark. So they're just, you know, we're just talking about what the process is going to be.
Man, do we feel for you and the guys and girls in Albury at Brad Jones Racing and here at the track. You have got some cars to fix now in both series, don't you?
Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. So I haven't had a look at Timmy Blanchard's car yet, but the Cool Drive car probably looked the worst from the outside, and I feel that you know, there's a lot of work to be done. Hopefully we can get them back on the track tomorrow, the VCS cars, but you know, I don't think there'll be much sleep.
Thanks, Bradley.
Thank you.
So you can clearly see and hear cars rolling. Greg Rust in conversation with Brad Jones. The cars rolled at 5:38 and 10 seconds, and it's time certain at 39 minutes past the hour. So frankly, I don't really know how this is going to be managed. So that's I think the last car remaining was the Garth Tander car. So if this is a race, I don't know. If there's a result, I don't know. And if there's points, I don't know. I'm sorry.
And given the recovery cars on the track, and I'm listening to all the engineers talking to the drivers and the responses back.
Let's have a listen.
Because they want it finished. They won't, that's all. Well, they can't. Well, that's right, because it's done one lap. Yeah, but they're trying to do, their brief is... Who's they? Cams. Race control. Finish the race, but it's sorted, it's fixed. But our car, no, relax, we're going to fix it. They're going to
So they're pretty animated.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, what Gary's saying is his car's still out there, and you guys are contemplating starting a race.
Greg Crick on the right, very successful supercars and GT competitor, and these days the driving standards advisor for the Toyota 86 series, and James Moffat together with Garth Tander. Okay, another message has come up there. I'm sure you can read at home. So, meantime, the discussion continues.
So Van Gisbergen was at the front of the queue from Whincup, Lowndes, Reynolds, Mostert, Bright, Winterbottom, Dale Wood, who's got the drama with the restart of that car, Todd Kelly, Cam Waters, Fabian Coulthard, Lee Holdsworth, Caruso, remember... Well, I'm just hearing David Couchy talking to Jamie Whincup, and you're going to get a checkered flag, and this is the last lap.
Oh, 50 laps or one lap after 17:39. We got a race started. It got suspended. It's been picked back up, and there'll be some pretty animated discussions about the reality of
just hold 80, please.
What this all means. Is it a result? Will points be declared? And I'll let bigger brains than this one work that out. And
away from the field,
obviously,
lights out, accelerate away from the field.
I'd rerun this race in the morning. Just reschedule it and run the race in the morning.
There's going to be many opinions, so we'll, for the time being, let's just deal with what we can see. And Shane Van Gisbergen has managed to escape the carnage. He'll come to a checkered flag ahead of In fact, it's all 888 cars. It's the Red Bull Holden Racing Team cars of Shane Van Gisbergen, Jamie Whincup, Craig Lowndes. Followed by David Reynolds, Chaz Mostert, Jason Bright, Mark Winterbottom, Dale Wood, Todd Kelly, Cam Waters. And that's the way they'll trickle across the line.
So, as you can see, checkered flag out. Oh, geez, Shane almost spun then. So slippery, as you can see. Shane doing a little bit of showing off with those very hardy people, the crowd that have stayed with us. Just listen to this.
So there's a bit of frustration, folks, as you can see, and there's divergent opinion, which is commonplace in motorsport. And we'll obviously clean it up for everybody later in the day, and when you join us again tomorrow on a bright new day, we'll start all over again. And the way I've just been informed by General Manager of Television that it's being treated as a race. Points are being treated as to be allocated, and that is going to, there'll be World War III down in the pit lane about this one. Look, there you go. Weird things happen in sport, and that's the best way to describe what's going on out there. The thing that I'm most concerned about is the health of the drivers, and then what it means for the crews to be able to turn those cars around. And Shane has crossed the line. We don't really know what that means at the moment, and I'm sure that we'll try and get to the bottom of it for you. Did a pretty good job of steering his way through the trauma down there. Yeah, so I was going to say, I don't know what this is. It's just yet another shunt.
This is how it started. This is the replay of Fabian Coulthard with Todd Kelly. And this is turn 2. So Fabian then ends up with Cam Waters on the right. Have a look to your left in a second, because he comes out of turn 3. There's Rick Kelly. They make contact. They check up. And behind them is when everyone started to move because of those cars going slow. And that's what's triggered one of the biggest accidents we've seen in the sport for a long time. That's Garth Tander spinning into Rick Kelly. Cam Waters gets by, and then they all cannon into the side of Rick Kelly, but it doesn't finish here. The most severe one is that one. That's Will Davison going very fast on the left-hand side of the road, and he effectively T-bones Rick Kelly, and Will Davison has been taken to hospital. Rusty?
You saw the huddle there before, Scafie, and Gary Rogers, a respected member of our sport, a Hall of Famer, was right in the middle of it. What have you been told?
Oh, Greg, what they've said, or the stewards have come to some conclusion, which doesn't surprise me, but I'll keep that to myself. But what they've said is the race rules per the book are saying that the race is time certain to a certain point in time. But the fact of the matter is there's also a force majeure rule. Now, the fact is it's dark. There's still damaged cars on the track. There's people wandering up and down pit lane. There's tow trucks going up and down pit lane. It is just so dumb that some common sense can't be put into place by these administrators, because they just do not understand the racing. Now, they might be able to read a little book and do all those things, but when it comes to matters of racing per se, they just don't get it.
You're a racer. How would you like to have seen it handled on that basis?
Oh, look, you know, the fact of the matter is, well, for a start off, it's dark, number one, right? Okay, and also, pit lane was crowded with people, it was crowded with tow trucks. Everybody knew that the race couldn't restart. It should have just been shut down. Very simple. It's just, you know, it's just common sense.
It's frustrated Gary Rogers. Leave you to it. Thank you.
Well, Shane Van Gisbergen, that is one very strange old day at the office. Pretty much no racing whatsoever. Sitting out there at the front there, obviously took advantage with Chaz making that mistake, and then all hell broke loose.
Yeah, Scotty obviously made that one easy, and then so did Chaz. But first and foremost, good to hear everyone's okay relatively, and that's a hard one. I think on that first lap, I followed Chaz to the hairpin. Sun was out and a lot of spray, and I could hardly see, and I was only behind one car, so. Up the back, it looks like all those guys just haven't seen what's ahead of them, so I can see wouldn't have been easy to avoid.
It's there's a bit of confusion out there about this whole restart and what's going on, and obviously a few people pretty heated about a lot of damage here. How do you feel about receiving a checkered flag for what you've done today?
I don't really care about that. I just hope that we can have a good field tomorrow. Everyone can fix their cars and everyone's okay, and then we can have a good race tomorrow and fight it out. But yeah, not sure what will happen points-wise for that. It's not high on the priority list at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a challenging day altogether with the qualifying and trying to get those laps. And, it may have dried up, it may not have, but we're not going to find out. But tomorrow's going to be a big one. Again, your cars today have been pretty competitive.
Yeah, we've had a great day. All three of us have been quick, and our cars are really competitive. So, yeah, in dry and wet. So no matter what comes tomorrow, we're well prepared, and I think we'll be okay, and hopefully we can have a good battle.
Thanks, Shane.
Cheers.
Lee Holdsworth, you have narrowly avoided another major accident, and you just saw that yellow car sneaking through that huge accident.
Well, I saw it all going on ahead of me, and obviously some blokes saw it as an opportunity to pass ahead of cars, but, it's so narrow down there. I saw, Rick sideways across the track, and I jumped off the throttle and just tried to avoid everyone. And then the next thing, I'm trying to avoid the guys behind me because they're full noise. So I'm dodging them, trying to weave my way through a gap, from behind. So, pulled up short of it all. And fortunately, the guys that were behind me didn't run into the back of me, and we got away scot-free. But hopefully we get some points for that race. I don't even know. It's so confusing at the moment what's going on. But it would have been nice to see how our car was in that race, because we've had a speedy car here. We just didn't get it right in qualifying. So looking forward to tomorrow.
It was a really strange day. I mean, the weather's been changing all day. It's sort of been on and off with, wet weather tyres, slick tyres. It's just been one of those bizarre days.
Yeah, it's been real strange. Starkey, my engineer, said, "Oh, mate, the weather's set in," and then the next thing, the sunshine comes over. So, been really, really weird. But look, I hope the guys that were in that accident are all okay, especially Will and Rick. That was huge. So, no one wants to see that, and I don't think I've ever seen that many cars get belted out of a race, especially first lap. So, it's no good for anyone, no good for the fans, and we want to race. So. Hopefully we put on a good show tomorrow.
Well, I'm glad for once your car has come home very straight.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. Cheers.
The results board just over our shoulder says Fabian Coulthard 10th, but we've been watching some of the replays of the incident in question, mate. Just tell us how it was from your point of view.
It's crazy.
Wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. There was a battle from 6 with Dale and I think it was Todd Kelly. There was a pack of like 4 of us into one, and we sort of sliding over the crest at one, and so this is turn 6. So Dale has a big slide, and then we're sort of all 2 abreast, 4 cars. Get through here okay, and then I come through 3, and it just has a big slide on me and Rick's there, but everyone's sort of so close and everything like that, and then it just all unfolds from here.
Was it because it was so slippery there at 3 and things like that, and then you've obviously had contact with the Kelly car?
Yeah, we've got 650-odd horsepower. You're trying to put that to the ground on a wet track, and being on that side, you're sort of hemmed in a little bit more on the right-hand side, and you've got to make it more of a turn back to the right. So obviously turning more is going to invigorate everything. So it's only a narrow track, and that's the outcome.
I've just seen you chatting a moment ago with Ben Croak, with Phil Keed, and some of the guys. What is Car 12 like in the wake of this?
Well, the boys did a fantastic job to fix it and get it back out there. So it's a credit to them. We salvaged some points for today, but
what had to be fixed?
It was a left rear corner. So I don't know who it was. I presume it was Rick bouncing off the fence back into me that did the damage. And thankfully we got back to the start finish line. The boys, like I said, did a fantastic job fixing it, and we're able to salvage something.
Crazy day. Good to see you're okay.
Yes, thank you.
Fabian Coulthard, and that's the stricken car of Will Davis, and massive damage in the back of that car in the front. And every time I look at the replay of that vehicle making contact with Rick Kelly's car, I blanch and look away. It's shocking. So An awful situation here today, folks, in Tasmania for what should have been a fantastic third race of our championship season. It promised a lot with the mix that we had on the grid. Mark Scaife and I, together with the entire Supercars media team and everybody at Fox Sports, will go away, we'll regroup, we'll stop and think, we'll debate, discuss, we'll come back a little bit later, and then tomorrow we'll have another round in what will, I'm sure, be an exciting next chapter of the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship. But for now, we've got a lot of damaged cars out there. Thankfully, we avoided a bullet in terms of people getting hurt. Will Davison's been taken to hospital under observation, but we understand he's okay. There's got to be a lot of money spent, a lot of time and effort to resurrect some of these cars. We'll regather our thoughts and we'll come back and we'll look forward to your company again tomorrow.